He's played some exceptional stuff. I think it's always hard to play against Brighton, Graham's team, to keep the ball well. We pressed well, and I think we started really well, and was just waiting for that moment to get a goal, and Mason's first was brilliant.
OK, Manchester United are back, Miguel.
Well, they look a lot better. I wouldn't go that emphatic yet, because we have had this in the last few years with United, where they've, even under Mourinho, where they suddenly, like at the start of 2017, where they've gone on these spells and everything looks very good, and then a few, because I think the squad is still a little bit short, even if the first 11 now looks so much better, but they've had a few issues, and then suddenly they go back into a bit of a funk. And it's an amazing stat, but at the moment, Solskjaer's points return for this season is less than David Moyes in 2013-14, which I suppose shows maybe how under form they were for a lot of the season, but certainly they look in a groove right now. And we were talking about it off air, when players like Matic are producing like outside of the foot volley passes like that. That's a team with confidence.
Yeah, Darren, in terms of the players there, who's impressing you the most at the moment? Because there's so many to choose from all of a sudden.
I mean, obviously the obvious one is from Bruno Fernandes, and what the impact he's had on the squad. I think he's been fantastic. And not only that as well, Pogba has kind of seen what Fernandes has been doing. It's like he's kind of said, well, hold on, I'm a good player as well. You're going to forget about me. So both of them in tandem have been fantastic. And I just think Martial was good, scored a hat-trick. Rashford's obviously still trying to find his feet. Greenwood, young kid, 18 years old, looks like he knows how to play the Manchester United way. So for me, I think them two in the middle of the park, Pogba and Fernandes, I think however far Manchester United go this year, when they get into the top four, it'll be down to them too.
Is it too simplistic, Miguel, just to say that Bruno Fernandes has made the difference for Manchester United? Or considering when he came in, the run began, and they're now 15 matches into that unbeaten run, and he's played a part in every single one of them?
There's been a lot of comparisons with Cantona. I wouldn't go that far yet.
I mean, you've got someone like a Fernandes or a Pogba who you know can pick up them passes. You see Rashford running in behind Martial. And it doesn't surprise me that now Martial's now starting to score more goals.
But he takes risks, Fernandes.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're a striker in that position... Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
Look at that as well. I mean, he's in fantastic company there as well, isn't he?
It's not bad, that. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, but as I said, if you've got someone like a Fernandes who's willing, as you just said there, to take risks, I think as a centre forward, there's nothing better. Because if I keep making the runs and the ball's not coming, eventually you're going to start to get annoyed. When am I going to get service? But now you've got both of them, Pogba and Fernandes, both doing it. I mean, there's no telling how many goals them guys are going to score. In
your career, Darren, do you remember a player coming into a club that you were at who just transformed people's mindsets like it seems he's done at United? Even close to it? Not so much coming in, but not to that level. Do you know what I mean? There's players that have come in and have done very well, but the only one I can kind of remember that he was there when I got there, to be fair, but the kind of impact he had on the squad was Danny Murphy, because he was kind of similar to these type of guys, took risks all the time. Like Kerbishley would be putting his air out, keep the ball, but every time he'd be trying things, but it might not work all the time, but you know, one or twice it does work, we end up scoring from it. So there's no telling how much of an impact on a squad a player can come with a bit of creativity and who's willing to try things. And Miguel, you mentioned him before, Nemanja Matic. We interviewed him earlier on this week, and I asked him, what's it like playing in a midfield with Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes? He said, well, I enjoy it, but I also enjoy playing with Scott McTominay. I also enjoy playing with Fred. He's completely killed the question. But for him, what must it be like playing behind these two? Does it give him more work to do or less work? Well, they're on the ball all the time.
You'd think it takes a lot of the pressure off, man. And this was a problem with United but a lot of time over the past 2 years where, because it felt like they were built for the counter-attack, no matter what they did, the ball kept coming back. And I think that put a lot of onus on what was, you know, as Darren alluded to there, maybe quite a bit of a passive midfield, whereas now it's a completely different midfield. And in some ways, Matic's job is much more simpler, because it's essentially about just keeping things steady and providing the platform for two creators.
To be fair, there's a lot more responsibility on him, because now he knows, well, you said there, his job is simple, because he knows now, well, with them two guys flying everywhere, I've got to stay here. He's got to be the anchor. He can't go anywhere, because if he starts venturing forward as well, like maybe McTominay, because I don't think McTominay's position is a holder. I think he's a box-to-box midfielder. So he might wander, but Matic knows, well, listen, I need to give these back four protection. So I need to stay here and let them guys, Pogba, Fernandes, whoever's playing, let them go and affect the game offensively. But my responsibility is to stay here and protect the back four.
But he was brilliant in that role, I think, in particular in 2014-15 for Chelsea. It was a different setup, but his main role in that Chelsea team was basically just sitting in front of the defence and almost like an octopus, kind of, you know, anything that came towards the box, kind of eating it up. And that's maybe it'd be something a bit more similar for United now.
It does. I can see him being in that England squad.
Yeah, he's in good company as well, Miguel, on this list. He's got the most goals as a teenager aged 18 or under since Wayne Rooney back in 2004. You see, obviously, Michael Owen's got the biggest impact of all. But to even be involved in that conversation is a good sign.
Yeah, exactly. And very high as well. I mean, the obvious comparison is actually with Rashford when Rashford broke through in 2015-16. And it's kind of surprising not to see Rashford on that list, actually. But I think it emphasises how Greenwood, as brilliant as Rashford is, Greenwood is more complete as a player now than Rashford was at the same age. I think that's what really strikes about Greenwood, that he's just adapted to this team. And you feel like, and you kind of see it in a certain cockiness in his game, like, yeah, I'm ready for this level. There's no kind of callousness about him. He's just ready to take it.
As well, I think Greenwood will score more goals than Rashford. But I think Rashford's fantastic technique, can go past people with pace. But that kid's got a knack for scoring goals. Greenwood, you can see just by his position, the little positions he takes up on the pitch in around the 6-yard box. I do believe he'll score more goals than Rashford.
OK, leagues are on a longer unbeaten run at the moment. They're way ahead of any other Premier League team. Another clean sheet at Brighton as well, and that will do David De Gea the world of good, won't it?
Yeah, obviously, De Gea has been a player that's struggled a bit in terms of some of the criticism he's copped this year, and he certainly hasn't been in career best form. So to notch a clean sheet will definitely help his confidence. The team's playing really well. I think that a major part of the clean sheets have really been our ability to control games and control possession, which the discussion you guys had about Bruno Fernandes really covers that. I think he's been the real catalyst for the turn in form, and he's been a real inspiration, I guess, to his teammates around him. And it's not just been about what he's been able to do, but he seems to get the best out of everyone on the park, and a real inspiration to the rest of the team.
Matt, how confident are you about this team going forward? Because it's obviously been a bit of a back and forth season. I mean, it's not too long ago when there was still debate about whether Solskjaer was the right man for the job. Things were looking great around Christmas, and now it's all transformed. So, kind of taking all that in, how are you seeing things?
Yeah, it's I guess given the last few years that we've had, you never want to get too far ahead of yourself, even though this is a really good stretch of results and performances as well. Not necessarily just the results, but the performances have been really good. I think it's a cautious optimism at the moment. I do think, with maybe that one more signing at left back to give us a bit more cover there, and maybe that Sancho signing, we'd be in a really good position to get into that title discussion next year. And I think, if Fernandes can keep up his form and continue to bring the best out of the likes of Pogba, the likes of Matic, and simplify his role as well, I think, we can be cautiously optimistic and hopefully get back into a title discussion. But we'll take it one step at a time and try and just sneak into that top 4 for now.
Very wise of you, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us on Premier League Daily.
Thanks for having me.
Miguel, you've been writing recently about the work that Arsenal have got to do and the task ahead for Mikel Arteta, how far they are off even top 4, let alone the title. How far do you think Manchester United are off?
Not too far, actually. I think that the general shape of the squad looks much better. They filled a lot of gaps. I think they probably need a bit more strength and depth. I'd still be somewhat, if it came down to a straight shootout between the managers, I'd still be somewhat doubtful that Solskjaer can match Klopp and Guardiola, I have to say, because I think they're the two best in the world. And I would still say, if United do want to really match that, go for Pochettino. But
even though the results have been so encouraging against those particular managers, not so much Klopp, but certainly Guardiola this season.
Yeah, but I suppose, I think you almost have to look at those games in isolation, because the way they play actually in those games is so different from what looks like it's now going to be United's general approach, which is with Pogba and Fernandes, much more aggressively attacking rather than counter-attacking. Whereas in those City games, it was kind of the template to play against City, which is sit off to catch them on the break. So I would kind of separate that. But in saying, I have to say that the progress over the last few months has been, even allowing for a very long break, has been very encouraging. And the outlook is much better. I think they'll finish Champions League places now for definite. I think they will actually finish ahead of Leicester.
Do you agree, Darren?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they'll finish in the top 4. I do think they need some strength and depth. I like what he said there about the left back. I mean, I like Brandon Williams. I think he's going to be a terrific player going forward. But you're right. I think they do need in certain areas maybe a little bit more cover, maybe another centre half. I think to play alongside Maguire.
Centre forward?
Potentially, yeah, but I think once you start signing maybe centre forwards, and is that going to push Martial a bit further back? Is that going to then affect Greenwood? Do you know what I mean? So you'd have to say, yeah, potentially they need someone who's going to go and score 20 goals. But I do think between the front three, they'll score enough goals. But I can't see them challenging City or Liverpool anytime soon. But top four, yeah, for sure.
OK, thank you for the moment, guys. That's it for part one on Premier League Daily. In part two, we'll be looking ahead to the match.